How are you doing? Thank you so much for joining us for another day of Community Voices. Today we have an incredible roundtable with our SDN chapter leads from UK and Francisco, and we're going to be talking about the local communities and a little bit about the Service Design Day and also how they're more involved with Service Design Global Conference. So let's bring on stage our amazing chapter leads. So we have Stephen and Sylvia. Hi, Sylvia. Sylvia, how?
Hello.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody.
Today, I just wanted to thank you and for joining us, and also I just wanted to dive into some of the conversations around your chapters and the kind of activities that you're going to be doing today. So maybe let's kickstart with a little bit of an introduction. I'm Sudeshna, your host for today, of course. And Steve, can I ask you to take over?
Oh, hey, I'm Steve Wood. I reside in London in the UK. I've been part of the SDN UK committee for probably around 7 years now, and I get involved with events. I get involved with some publications, a lot of community events and mentoring, and we also do a podcast. That's me.
Okay. Thank you, Steve. Sylvia?
Yeah, hi. So I'm Sylvia Bargellini. I'm in San Francisco, Oakland, Bay Area. So I've been with the Service Design Network for a little over maybe a year and a half, 2 years now. And I've been leading the San Francisco chapter with a couple other amazing individuals. And I own my own business, Create Strategy.
So, thank you for sharing about yourself. Can you tell us a little bit more? And you already started this, Sylvia, like your involvement with the SDN. How did you get introduced and how did you get roped in with our community and start this chapter?
Yeah, so actually I learned about service design, I want to say in 2014, actually through Design Week, which is coming up in San Francisco, at an Adaptive Path event, which I know they're no longer Adaptive Path, but for those of you who don't know Adaptive Path, they moved into Capital One as an in-house team. And it was amazing. As a kind of industrial designer turned researcher at the time, very young in my career, I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? And I then had no idea how to get into it. So it took me then, 10 plus years more to figure out, oh, we have a service design Bay Area chapter, and I'm actually kind of doing this in my day-to-day work. And loved to kind of meet those people. And when I first met Andrea and Ming, who were currently leading the chapter, right after kind of as the pandemic was ending, they needed more leadership help. And so I jumped right in and have been really enjoying helping the team lead the SF chapter since. So that's kind of how it all happened.
That's an incredible story. I know a lot of us make the transition and then we get into these different communities. Steve, did you have the same experience or was it completely different for you?
Well, I think I've been working in service design for a number of years, but I've been attending lots of meetups from the UX community because they were great. They had definitely the best pizza, definitely the best drinks, the best speakers. They were really well organized, and it wouldn't be great if there was a service design version of this. And then we found in the UK, actually there was, but it was very, very nascent. And it had gone through cycles. I think with any volunteer-led organization, you go through these peaks and the troughs because kind of the effort it takes to do it really well is relatively large. And people are doing this in parallel with their day jobs and their families as well. So you get these moments where things are like peaking and troughing. So that's when I first met the guys from Service Design Network UK, and we sat down, we had beers in the sun, which is a very rare thing in the UK. And we talked about, how we could develop the chapter, and it all started from there, but it's been a very, very slow burn. It's kind of been maybe 7 years.
Wow.
And I think lots of people have changed in the chapter. But now I think we've never had a larger core committee team. And I don't think we've ever been stronger than we are now in the UK.
That is amazing. Like, could I ask how many like members do you have, and like how has the chapter grown over the years? Was it like started at something where, as you said, it was very nascent, and then it grew? Have a lot of things shifted just in the structure and the kind of people that?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we spend our time like working with like a core committee of people that are actively engaged and want to do stuff. So, if you join the committee, you've kind of stepped forward to organize something, to run something. So at the moment, I think we've probably got around 10 people at various stages of their design career. We've got people myself that are in the autumn of their design career. Maybe we've got great people like Marcus, who's got an incredibly deep product design. He's now working for BP. We've got Mandana Dolmagani, who again like the senior design stage, but we've also got lots of people at that mid-level, and also some let's call them new blood designers, people who've come in from university, maybe in their first year, and they want to be part of a community. Maybe they've moved into an organization where there aren't any other designers, where they're having to be an evangelist as well as a practitioner. And SDN UK becomes a place where the tribe can convene, where they can maybe find some mentorship and find a way to develop their professional practice. In terms of the members, I think we're more than happy to be like a community, so open to all comers. And I think the membership structure of the SDN is really great for that. So independent of where you are in your career or in your financial situation or in your location, there are different ways for you to participate in that community.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Steve, for sharing that. I know when I started service design, I was actually transitioning from computer science into service design. So it was like absolutely new for me. I had no design community, and I really feel the need for just these communities to exist, for us to just get the support that we want during such times of transition. Sylvia, tell me a little bit about the San Francisco chapter. Who are the people in there? What kind of conversations do you have? And how has it grown over the last 1.5 year as you're leading it? Or you could also talk about a little bit about the past.
Yeah, so I believe we've had a chapter since, I want to say 2014 or even before. So even like when Adaptive Path was around. I was not around at that time, so I can't speak to it. I can't speak to how it was similar or different. I have heard inklings, but that I can't share exactly. All I know is that Andrea and Ming had been part of the chapter prior to the pandemic, and with the pandemic, things just kind of shut down. Not necessarily their fault by any means, right? It's just everybody here in the Bay Area, especially because the Bay Area really shut its doors tightly. So with that being said, we really had an uphill, not battle, but uphill road to go to get our membership back up and running again, and events that people were interested in. I'm pretty sure we have 300 to 500 people in the Bay Area who are members, and even that many in our newsletter. The part is we haven't seen all of them, and we'd love to see more of them. So I think we're just still about 2 years into having events and starting to figure out what events pull people, what events don't. But similar to Steve, we have everybody from students all the way to kind of practitioners who own their own practice, like myself, and everyone in between. So it's a lovely mix of people, and we've been enjoying meeting all of them when they come to our events. So yeah.
Absolutely. So I guess this is like a call out to all the San Francisco people there. Hey, come to the
Yeah.
event. There's an amazing community that is led by Sylvia here, and join the service design chapter. Like all the events that are there in your local community. All
Yeah.
right. I actually there was one question that came up on Instagram by one of our followers that they're trying to revive the community, as you already started speaking about, or even start a chapter. What does it take to like revive the community or start a chapter in particular your cities or areas?
Yeah,
Steve,
Steve, do you want to start or
yeah.
do you want to?
Yeah, well, I think so. We also had a similar issue after the pandemic. How do you kickstart
Yeah.
things? And I think it's trying to work out how do you engage the audience with mass events. So,
Yep.
yeah, everyone was sick of online events. Although online events, it's easy to get to. You don't really get that service design tribe hug that you get at a service design event. So one of the things that we went out of our way to do was to sort of do events that would enable us to bring together people, find a topic of interest, something potentially even contentious, and then make sure you bake in some networking there. You also need to work out that if you're going to bring people together, you need it to be something where there is a fee. Because one of the things we learned really early on, we did this amazing it was a design treasure hunt in the design museum in the Victoria and Albert Museum in the design department, and everyone worked hard putting this together. We sold 120 tickets, and about 20 people turned up because it was free. We then shifted to a nominal fee, and then whoever turns up gets to vote on a charity that all of the profit goes to. And then actually people come together, they get to network, and you also do some good for your community or for a charity at the same time. So making sure you've got great content, making sure you've got a place to advertise that content so people know where to go. So for us, that was Eventbrite. I think we're looking to change that because of the fee structure, because they were taking
similar.
Hundreds of bucks out of our events, and that reduced the amount that we could pass on to charities or to cover the running costs for the events. And make sure that you're continually engaging with your audience. So Maggie, who runs our social media channel, she posts 2 or 3 times a week. Everyone provides her with content, but she manages the channel, and she provides a consistency of look and feel. And she's a fantastic, almost like a heartbeat, because there are so many different pressures trying to draw people in. If you're kind of if you miss like at the moment, if you miss like a week or 2 and people are used to getting regular engagement with you, suddenly you go to back of mind and you start to drift away. So again, it comes back to the fact that if you're going to do this well, you've got to be realistic about the effort and the amount of time you need to commit to it.
Yeah.
So that's our experience. Silver.
I'm totally in agreement. I think one of the things that we in the SF chapter have found is consistency is key, and getting people out and together is key. So I'm wholeheartedly with you, Steve, and also Eventbrite, as we have figured out, is not necessarily the best platform. So all in agreement on all those top points of contention. So consistency for our members, getting them out and about. So we've found events that are close to our public transit, which is sadly not as good as the UK. I wish.
You got better weather.
Sometimes it sounded like you had some nice beers in the sun at some point.
2018.
Oh, got it. So I think one of the things we found this year, we had a conversation, just us chapter heads, around what can we do to support our membership. After a really great year, as we ramped up last year, trying to get just consistent events going, once a month basically was our goal. We wanted to have kind of a redux for ourselves and a conversation. And one of the things we talked about was, our members want this and our members want that. And we realized that all of that boiled down to connection, right? The best thing we could do and we could do to support that was providing those events, providing that context, those themes, those topics, to allow that connection to happen. We can't, necessarily say we provide job opportunities, or we can't necessarily control what the market is doing right now, but we can provide connection. And so that's kind of our main mission and goal, is to provide honest, in-person connection. And that's been going really well. We actually have, in tandem with Service Design Day a little bit, as well as Design Week, as I mentioned, coming up, we are partnering with Miro and doing a really great event for that on June 2nd. So and it filled up like before we could even really open it to our membership. It filled up through Design Week. So we're trying to figure out what to do about that. We might have to host a different event or something. But yeah, so it's been really great to partner with also other organizations, was another addition to what Steve had said, as well as even pulling on the vast knowledge and kind of just knowledge and support from our current members, like saying, hey, you member have an amazing role, job, career experience, can you share it with us in a panel one day? Or, hey, let's do a book club. One of our members was super excited about it, and so she's now leading our book club. So it's kind of our goal as leaders is to find that connection. But yeah, it's been really, really fruitful and exciting to see it grow from there.
Yeah. Thank you, Sylvia. I think both of you've made such important points, like creating consistency and then building a space for people to actually come together and have that kind of connection. It's like I think all the chapters are literally striving for that, and even at the global conference, we do. I do want to shift a little bit towards the global conference now. You spoke about Miro because it reminded me of, Miro was one of our partners in the conference.
Yeah, good.
So was like, can you talk about how y'all are involved with the global conference? What does that look like, and how does the chapter support the conference?
Yeah, I can start this one, Steve. So I ended up actually wanting to join the global conference last year and didn't end up getting a chance just due to timing. And I'm really excited to be a part of the experience team this year, which means that I help support both the in-person and virtual experiences days of the conference. But we're kind of figuring out what the event venue and floor plan looks like, what the conference timing looks like for speakers. And then from there, how do we transition that to a good virtual experience, which actually, again, timing won't work out, so I won't be in person. So I really want to make sure that virtual experience is great for everyone this year. But also my leadership team in SF is doing a lot of great work, both by promoting the service design conference. So each leader has a 10% off coupon code that we're promoting the conference with. They're also, Andrea, for example, one of our other leaders that I've mentioned, is actually supporting as the North America chapter head and getting feedback from all of the North America chapters and supporting them in that way. So we're really trying to support in various ways, and we're definitely planning an event around the conference itself in the Bay Area for those who can't go in person. So yeah, we're really excited.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Sylvia. Steve, do you want to kick us off after that?
Yeah, I think for people who are based outside of North America, I think we've got to try and work out how we can provide access to the content and also connection. So I think the key thing for us is how we can do physical watch parties that bring people together and maybe supplement that with local speakers as well, so it's not just like screens, it brings people in, potentially finding some decent pizza as well, which does exist in London now. But I'm also helping out a little bit with the content team as of yesterday, apparently. I have been told by Birgit. So fine. And also, I was hoping to see the powerhouse that is David Russo on this call.
He's part of our experience team. He's been doing
He's
great
been part
work
of the team for every single global conference that I think I've been to. And he's always there. He's always like the solid rock, the foundation on which it's built. So it's great. But I just think he couldn't bring his A game to this call, so he has decided not to come at all. Never mind, Sylvia. Maybe we scared him off.
No, sadly, his office scared him off. They had an offsite today that they only gave him the schedule yesterday. Super helpful, I know. Very service design oriented, clearly.
It's fine. He can bend like a reed in the wind. That's just the way he rolls.
He's amazing that way. I agree.
For everyone who knows David Russo, of course, he is the chapter head of the New York chapter, and he's also part of the conference team. And we were really hoping to have him, but we will get him for the next episode or so. So don't worry.
Do it.
All right. Steve, I did want to also ask you about actually the Lego workshop that y'all did recently. I know that was was it inspired by the last year's conference? Because that was in Europe, and I know that the UK chapter was really active there. So can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we try and do a monthly meetup, and as Sylvia said, we work with partners to find venues to host, because I think we've found that going with paid venues, it just makes the ticket price a little bit steep, and it also means that our overhead it just becomes too complex, and we don't want to do it. So universities have provided really great facilities and support. So the Lego Serious Play event we held at the London Interdisciplinary School, try saying that after a Prosecco, and we had an enormous space at the top level, and we had just under 100 people using Lego to prototype and to work out how the Lego Serious Play approach could be fitted into a service design framework. So that was fantastic. We're doing the next, actually the event before that was one focused on designing for accessibility, and that was hosted at City University. And they provided a 200-seater venue for us. And they also provided all of the refreshments and the pizza. And they were just absolutely fantastic. And it's finding partners like that really help a chapter to thrive. Because if you're trying to find great speakers, great venue, get a ticket price, try and find caterers that will come into it, actually it becomes like a wedding. And yeah, I've only seen the wedding planner once, and I'm definitely no JLo.
It's funny you mentioned that. I'm planning my own wedding right now, and it's just getting more and more expensive.
No, I can't. No, we are not available. We are not available.
No, I honestly, this experience of being a chapter lead has helped me budget properly. So
do you have a journey
really
map for your day?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. This
Actually,
is it. Oh no, we go down
board.
here.
Sorry, I don't mean to promote Miro this much, but I have a Miro board.
Service designing your wedding, like that's what we want to hear.
That sounds like an event in itself. Hey, maybe you could use it to cross-fund your wedding. It's just a cost-neutral wedding because.
I don't think we can go that far, but it has helped in the sense of knowing how to budget an event for sure. I'm with you, Steve, on all the points you made. Sorry, I didn't mean to take it off topic.
It's a good diversion.
Well, everything's like as long as it's service design, it's on the topic. In fact, this year in the conference, we've started to move more towards the business side as well. So we want to expand more towards like customer experience, product management, and we realize that service design touches so many boundaries and is so interdisciplinary in nature. And we've just started to explore that. And I come from a computer science background, so I've actually seen how it really blends, and it's very interesting to explain to people who are not familiar with design what that looks like. I wonder in your chapters, do you have design curious people or people who come from different disciplines, and how do they start to blend in with the community?
Yeah, I'll take that one. I feel like especially, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I feel like especially in the US, service design is not well known, if not known at all, to be honest. So most of our members will come from everywhere else: industrial design, user experience, product design, product development, even architecture, or outside of, like you mentioned, you were a computer science person, right? Research. So customer experience. I don't know. I can't name them all, right? Yeah. And with that being said, it's partially because of how, in Europe, your services are centralized government services. And I think that's how service design kind of was organized. The US, we don't have that. And so service design ends up becoming this more invisible thing. I mean, it's still, more invisible in most cases, but it's even more so here. And we have to kind of call it and call ourselves different practitioners to get the same effect. Actually, to that point, in my business with my business partner, Create Strategy, we're even calling ourselves change management and process optimization practitioners, business strategy, just marketing wise, branding wise, even though we utilize service design and human-centered design principles and frameworks under what we do, it just is what the market is looking for right now, and how the businesses look for the tools they need. And so it's been really interesting to see all the different people that come to our events and our members, because even though they're so intrigued and want to practice service design, they have to call it something else. And so I've had this conversation for almost every event as to, what do you call it? How do you get into it if it's not called service design, if the job titles don't match? It is pervasive, and it's a challenge for everybody. But it's something that I hope our chapter and all the chapters around the world can support and making happen for all of our members.
We love how you talked about like all the skills we're looking for. Maybe we frame it in a different way or repackage them, because that's what we're doing, and they're like just creating like alignment and terminology. Steve.
Yeah, so in the UK, we really embrace diversity. We have a lot of service designers that identify as product managers now, mainly due to the wages. If you look at the salaries of the two jobs, even though the JDs are exactly the same, we're noticing a real difference in pay structures. We often at our roundtable events, where we're doing more hands-on activities, we often ask people for their backgrounds to see where people are starting in their approach, whether everyone is part of the design tribe, or whether maybe we need to the level of assumed knowledge is lower. And I think we have found a lot of people who are coming who are developers, who are service design adjacent to these events. And we're trying to pitch our events so that in the description, it's not just if you don't know what to do with a double diamond, you're not coming in. They're expressed in a more general term, and we're finding that means we get a different, more various job descriptions. People with varying job descriptions turn up. Sorry, that was long and rambling, but hey,
I love that you mentioned if you don't know what to do with the double diamond. Many people don't even know what the double diamond is.
Oh. Yeah, well, yeah, and it's one of these things that is a religious choice. It's one of the symbols, isn't it? But it's one of those things that dies periodically. Yeah. Oh, it's dead. It's like, is it? Oh no, it's come back. There's something else. It's like
it's just it's how it's packaged. As always, everything just gets repackaged. Chatbots are now AI. It's just so on and so forth.
It's called basic logic. It's AI. No, it's not. I think designers have this like fetishistic love of frameworks, and someone mentioned frameworks are like toothbrushes. Everyone's got one, but no one wants to use someone else's. It's like, great, I've got a framework. Everyone turns up.
Yeah,
absolutely wonderful.
Love that.
Yep.
Love that analogy.
That's actually a great. I might use that in the future. Hopefully, that's okay.
Line from you, Steve. I hope you don't mind. All right. So we're actually at the last part of our conversation now, and we have a couple of people listening to us. So I'm just going to pull up some of the questions and comments that we have. So we have Lee here who says, thank you for the SD stories. Does the network have international representation? And he's in Australia. He's interested in being a part of the community. So how can you join in? Do you want to take the question, or I can take the question as well?
I feel like you should take that one because you know more about the different chapters and availability.
Yeah, I think I have to check, but I do have like the service design different chapters link that I can share in the chat, and please check if you have if your community is active, or you can reach out to us and we can partner and help you start a new chapter. There is definitely a lot of international representation. We're more concentrated in Europe and the North America right now, but we are expanding. So I know India chapter is there. There's also Singapore chapter. So we're expanding towards other regions as well. So we'd love to collaborate with you.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there is an Australia one yet, but you should start it.
Definitely has been one.
Looking on the website. There has probably in the past, but I'm not seeing it on the website. I'm seeing Austria, but not Australia.
It's quite close in spelling.
Not,
It
I
must
know
be
it's not.
similar.
I'm saying in the alphabetical order that's on the website. Sorry, all right.
Katie, I think she's from SEAU. She's also an ambassador. So I love that she's talked about the accessibility talk was excellent. And that was who I knew you talked about it, Steve. Who was the person who gave the accessibility talk? And do you have a recording or something of it that you can share with us?
No, we never record our
All in
meetups.
person, yeah.
Yeah. If you record it, people get you suddenly get, I can just keep the Cheeto dust on my front, and I can watch it at my own time. And you don't really engage. Sylvia said it's all about connection. You don't really get that connection when you're shoveling Cheetos into your mouth, watching a YouTube and triple screening. So, Katie, thank you so much for coming. We had a speaker from Barclays come, and she has a deep history of designing experiences to be accessible. But actually, she talked about the experience she'd had with her own son, who had a head trauma incident, so his life changed. And he talked about how the services didn't link up. So she is a superwoman with superhuman abilities, because she managed to link them together through force of will. But she talked about how, for many others, they don't have that the time, the ability, or the doggedness to do that. Because of that, people suffer.
And
We also
add monetary resources in the US, because our insurance system is a mess.
That needs another episode for sure.
Yeah. Just saying. But I'm glad you guys did that. I'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah, we also had Ashley from AbilityNet, who is she is a design researcher, but she's also autistic. So she talks about how do we design design research so that we engage with differently able communities in ways that generate better results, rather than just going there with one size fits all, it must work. And she was a fantastic speaker, so we've asked her to come and be a guest on the podcast. So the Service Design Yap podcast, which is accessible to all, she'll be on hopefully in a couple of months' time. And she was the dark horse of the event. She absolutely wowed the audience. There we go. And Katie said her talk was Katie also enjoyed.
Take it from Katie.
Right.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you, Steve. Last question. I think this is about the private and the government sector. Why is there so much difference between the pay of service design and product? Is it product designer or product
management? No, I think if you look at where they've come from, so product managers have typically come from Sylvia's side of the world, and you'll find the tech companies, the fat bags, had product managers and worked out that if you got a good product manager, they could help you to create competitive advantage. But these product managers were people who could Swiss Army knife it. So they had commercial design and strategic chops, and could come together to design and launch and get something across the line really quickly. So the good ones are definitely worth their weight in gold, or whatever metal is a decent currency at this point. I haven't checked. Service design, it came. It didn't come exclusively from the government side of the world, but a lot of the service design jobs are there. And I do think that, despite the fact that we've all been evangelical about what design can do for organizations, at the back of many minds, the fact that design is just there at the end to make something look pretty. And so, do we need this? Yeah, it's nice to have. It's lovely to have something that's pretty, but is there economic or commercial benefit? No. And I think that's if you look at the salary comparisons for things like ECDs in design versus people with similar sized teams in other parts of the business, like finance or HR, there's a magnitude of difference between people's earnings at that rate.
Yeah. And just to add, I mean, even in the US, I think it's also kind of the type of both role as well as business. So you'll find a lot of product managers are usually within the strategy teams, whereas a service designer or a designer generally is within a design team. And a lot of businesses just currently aren't seeing design research as fundamental or valuable right now as business or business strategy. I know it's so frustrating, and it goes back to why we're rebranding for my business, right? As I mentioned before, just because of how things are viewed. And so it's marketing, it's branding, and it's how do we as a service design organization, as service designers ourselves, brand and market ourselves to be more valuable, because clearly we are. I mean, if you put us in any of those roles, as you said, we're Swiss Army knives. But you know, people don't see us because both our work is slightly invisible, right? As I don't say that lightly, right? We feel that, and we're also in between roles a lot of times, and I think that ends up being slightly invisible as well. I'm sure we've all felt that. So it is a challenge.
Definitely. Thank you, Sylvia, for sharing. Thank you, Steve. I think with that, we're coming to a close of our episode today. Great conversations, amazing
Yeah.
Q&A, and always a pleasure to have you both. So
Lovely
thank
to
you
meet you,
so
Steve,
much.
too.
Bye.
Good to meet you too.
Bye, all.
Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
Yep.